And welcome back to another episode of the Benchwarmers. Brad, we're down here at your facility, iPerform, because we're about to do an NFL draft, so kill two birds with one stone. But looking forward, final round of the Barossa on the weekend, and can't wait to digest that.
Chucky, it's been a massive week, hasn't it? We love that word, we know, but this one has been huge. Obviously, the last round always comes with some implications, a few storylines to follow, so I can't wait to get into that. And everything else happening. AFLW's back, and FIBA World Cup, cricket's on. It's fantastic.
Yeah, don't ruin your feel-good fill-up too early, but can't wait to get into it. 4th v 5th on the weekend, Williston versus GC. Looking forward to talking about that game. Can't wait to get stuck into it. So we got to thank our sponsors, Brad. The Exchange Hotel. It'll be a big day at the Exchange today, Sunday. Yeah. All some teams that have finished up and a bit of live music that always end up pumping down there at the X, as well as all of our sponsors that help the show go to air each and every week, Brad. But I know you're itching at the bit to get into the Feel Good Fill Up, so we're going to have a break. Thank our sponsors when we come back. Brad with the Feel Good Fill Up.
And thanks to Rams Home Loans Northern Adelaide, we are back with another massive instalment of the Feel Good Fill Up. The Feel Good Fill Up, where you come for all your feel good stories in sport. Rams Home Loans, where you go for your refinancing, Chook.
Wow, 18 weeks, you've pulled that one out, Brad. So, Rams Home Loans, great supporters of the show, and we love them. Rams Home Loans Northern Adelaide, give the team a call today for all your refinancing needs. So,
it's finals, Chook, it's finals. Let's bring the crowd something. Yeah. Anyway, Chookie, speaking of things getting us up and about, the AFLW is back, round one as we speak. We're filming this on a Sunday, so we've had a few games to digest as well. We won't go into them. We're not an AFLW show, but it's just fantastic that is back. And the Crows, they started with a win over Port as well. That was fantastic to see, wasn't it?
It was, and you were obviously down there rubbing a few calves. So what did you make of the Crows outfit, and can they, obviously being very successful, can they be at the pointy end again this year?
They're stars, Chook. We won't get too sensible, but they're stars and they're fantastic. I'd love to see them right back up there. I think we'll be in the top few again, and giving it a good old shake at the pointy end of the year. And AFLW Fantasy this year as well, Chook, which is fantastic to sink the teeth into. And I've put my team together. I'm looking to take home the car this year. Yeah,
it's going to be good. And who have you put the skipper on?
Ebony Marinoff, Chook. She is a star in and under mid, plenty of tackles, plenty of kicks, and she's finding her way around the goals as well. So I don't think you can go wrong with her.
I like it. Good pick, mate.
Yeah, no, she's a star, Chookie. AFLW, it's flying. It should be a good year. Now, Chookie, Mitch Marsh gets an honourable mention for the Feel Good Fill Up as well. He is the new T20 Australian captain. We're over there playing against South Africa at the minute. He's copped some stick in the past. And that's what I like about this one, and that's why he's got to mention a real underdog story, Chookie. He's copped it in the past, and he's captaining the team. We've got a couple wins over there against South Africa. 92 not out off 49 balls in the first game, 79 not out off 39 in the second game, and he is got the boys flying. Yeah,
he's in as good as form of anyone, and leading from the front. And as you said, there was a period there, and he talks about it quite openly, Mitch Marsh, that he was the most hated man in Australia, but he is one of the great personalities in cricket, and he's been in serious touch lately, Brad.
It's good, Chook. And Australia, though, I think this one, can we just get behind them for a long time? I feel like we turn on our skippers just every now and then. We go in cycles. We hate them, we love them, and then we hate them again, and we kick them to the curb. I think Mitchy Marsh, let's get behind him for the long haul, Chookie. He is a star, and as is the Australian cricket team as well. They're going really well. Now, the winner of the Feel Good Fill Up this week, Chook, this one is fantastic. It actually goes to Aaron Bain Racing. We're not going too far away, literally, from home, this one. So, Aaron Bain Racing and Aaron Bain. The first ever Eureka was last night, Chook, at Menangle in Sydney. That is the Everest of harness racing. So, essentially, you own a horse for the night, you lease horses out. There were $2.1 million in prize money, if you don't mind. And the horse that Aaron Bain Racing had their hands on in Cypher, the Mighty Mare, has got home at 30 to 1
how good
last night.
Any winner at 30 to 1 is beautiful, but it's a nice touch when you can have a little bit on it at 30-1, and it takes home the 2.1 mil as well.
You'd be collecting left, right, and centre, and you'd be laughing all the way up to the
and your brother
lad at the tab. Yes, Chucky. I just gave him a call for some details and all that. I think the head's a bit sore. Dan Kierick and a few of the other connections were over there as well, so they would have definitely flown the flag at the pub after.
And did it well, Brad. Just nice down the outside.
Yeah, the wins you love to see, Chuck. You don't like hanging on and just winning. You like coming from behind and taking the win. And that was just, it was good to watch. And well done in Cypher, the mighty mare. She is a star, Chuck. I think I might have touched on it. It is the world's richest harness race.
Yes.
So I don't know if I was clear on that.
No, you weren't.
It is the biggest harness race in terms of prize money going around ever.
Who would have thought? She's a Pearl with the $1 Million Chase, the richest race, and now this all in the Gawler community.
All from Gawler. We're taking over, Chuck. Gawler is taking over Australia, taking over the world.
We just got to get an Everest winner now, and we'll do the three-peat.
That's right, Chucky. Maybe mine and your turn.
That's it. I hope so. It's got to be someone's turn, Brad.
That's it, Chucky. Well done in Cypher. Well done, Aaron Bain Racing. That's a fantastic effort. And well done, Rams Home Loans Northern Adelaide. We'll be back next week.
Yes, another fantastic feel-good fill-up there, Brad, and go ABR Racing as well. Let's have a look at round 18, Brad, the last minor round of the Barossa season for this year. Yeah, that's what I meant. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yep.
It was Angaston 14-10-94 defeated by South Gawler 16-17 113, but the fans out there, South Gawler didn't do it as easy as you might think.
They didn't, Chook. They had to work for it, and they came home late as well, which we'll touch on. But I think the people inside the Angaston walls, they would have been quietly confident they were going to give it a bit of a shake, and they did. So full credit to them. It's always an interesting one on the psychology of going into a game like that. Angaston, their year's done. They weren't going to obviously come into the four. South had locked up top spots. There was not much for them to play for either. But they definitely would have wanted to take some momentum into finals. So it's always a tricky one. South Gawler, full credit to them, got the job done. Go through the year.
Just got to find a way.
That's right. But I don't know. You would have been wanting to go into a final next week, having your first loss for the year either. No. I think South would have been putting a bit of a price on that. They did have a few missing, which we'll touch on, but we'll go through the formalities. Chucky, yes. Angus and Bess, Angus, Adams, Miles and Corcoran. Goals there, Durden 3, Schubert 2, Shannon 2 and Tuckwell 2. South Best, Jaden Gurney, he's a star, the small Gurney forward and the pressure forward. Lockie Arnold, second best in the ruck, and Whitworth third. Goals, Whitworth 4, Thorpe 3, Benison 2, Puglisi 2 and Joey Arnold 2. And from all reports from our scouts at the game, Chucky, goal of the year, a Pele over the top of the head, a big backflip goal kick. Not a goal kick, a kick for goal, and it was a goal. And goal of the year.
There's been a couple of goals of the year coming out of South Gawler this year.
That's right, Chook. But no, so Chookie, Angaston.
Yes.
A red hot start. They were 5-3 to 2-1 at quarter time. As we said, they came out firing, but it was South in the last quarter, 8-7 to 2-1, who really just found the gears and got it done. South were without Burton, Pisani, Press, Cutting and Simpson, just all with a few niggles that they'll be hoping to get them right for next week. But taking no risks, as we said, there was nothing to be gained or lost on the ladder-wise for South. So Gavin Chaplin, he would have done just everything right to get him right for finals. But like we said, they would have wanted that form. Angaston, though, I'm really looking forward to seeing them next year. We've touched on them week after week. They give a lot of games a good shake. We said that their win-loss probably doesn't quite reflect it. Yep. We know Shannon missed a fair bit of footy in the middle there with some injury as well. Summoning, sorry, my mistake, Summoning. But I'm really looking forward to them next year.
Yeah, I am. I think Hadsy down there, first year in the role, he's going to have him humming once he gets his hand on them for another full pre-season with the footy they've played in the back end and some of the kids that are performing really well for him as well. So I'm with you on the Panthers there, Brad. Let's have a look at the next game. It was Nuriupa 18-16, 124 defeating Kapunda, 7-3, Brad, 50.
7-8-50, sorry. Apologies from Jacob Schmidtke. We had an early start this morning. Our producer, Chook, early start down here at iPerform, and the handwriting's just a little bit shaky, but 7-8-50, I think my maths add up there. It'd be an even number anyway to get us to 50. Newry best there. Gregurk, Fallon and Bentley. Goals, there. Bentley 4, Bulben 3, Nichols 3, Gregurk 2 and Rosenswig 2 with Kapunda Best Whistler. He's a star, Chook. He just gets it done week after week in the ruck. He's a real battler and I love the way he goes about it. Parr and Opitz also there. Joey Brown 2 and Zanon Dreyer 2. Chook, what do you make of that?
Yeah, I think it's a good game for Newry. I like the spread of goal kickers as well from them and multiple goal kickers in that. And, you know, a good win. You could say that Kapunda, you know, they've probably scored more than they have against a couple of those top teams over the last few weeks. But I think Newry, that's a nice tune-up going into a final this week. Yeah,
that's right, Chook. And we know, I say it week after week, they do what they need to, when they need to, Newry as well. So I think they'll be really happy with that. They might have wanted to win by more and get a few more licks of the ice cream for their forwards and that. But, you'll take that. I think there were a few little sore spots. Norton and Hopener, a couple of corkies there. They were resting up late in the last quarter, but corkies, they'll get themselves up for next week, won't they, Chook? They're tough footballers. Gregurk as well, his best game since returning from Europe. So we know he started well. He went over and got a bit of sun in Europe, and he is just finding his form now at the right time of year. So full credit to him as well, and looking forward to seeing him in the finals.
Yes, you do love your podiatrist and their finals as well. Let's have a look at the next game, Brad. Freeling 9-10-64 defeating Tanunda 9-8-62, a 2-point win the way of the Redlegs.
That's right, Chookie, and we'll put the hand up. I think we both tipped Tanunda. We both got this one wrong, so we better admit that.
Because we're worried about Gers threatening us.
Yes, he knows his way around a boxing ring as well. So he's a
intimidating man.
He is, and he's made in the best players, so we better give him a pump up when we get to that. Freeling Best, Poulton, Chook, he just keeps getting in there, doesn't he?
BNF?
I think so, going off all the stats and we don't go out and watch a heap of games, unfortunately. We can't be everywhere, but God, he gets their best on ground in the best of
might be one or two.
Yeah, I think so, Chook. Tyler, second, and Koshel, he's a star as well, third best. Their goals, Lovell, 3, and Jonathan Ross, 2. Tanunda best, Matt Westhoff, Doherty, and Trent Gers. He's a star, Chook, third best. Yeah. Love the way he goes about it. Yes, and their goals, Guilfoyle, 3, and Calhoun, 2. But, Chook, get a load of this, how close it was all day. So 2-2 apiece at quarter time. It was all tied up at quarter time. Freeling were 1 point ahead at the second quarter. All scores were tied at the third quarter, and then Freeling get home by 2 points in the last quarter. That's a good tussle.
Crazy win, and pretty low scoring throughout the game until the last quarter as well, Brad.
Yeah, that's right.
4 goals apiece in the last quarter. They've gone into a shootout after kicking 4 goals each for the game. So, good win by Freeling, and that's a great note to finish on for the Redlegs. And we do love the Redlegs this year as well. So. Very happy to see. No,
it's good to see them competitive. What do you make of them next year, Chook? This was the one game that didn't involve anyone going into finals that we're sort of licking our lips about. But these two teams, I'm optimistic on both of them for next year. What do you make of them for top 4 chances?
Yeah, I think Freeling probably need I don't know what their point situation is, but I would have thought with their win-losses over the last 2 years that they've probably still got the full 15 points or 12 at a minimum anyway. So they're going to have to recruit and use them. You know, Koshel and Dutchke and these sort of operators, they're not getting any younger. So I think if they can find a couple of 22, 23-year-old mates, that's always the easiest way to get them that want to come together and can build and be there for the next 3 or 4 years. I think it can change very quickly for your footy club, and they can be pushing for top 4. And I think Tanunda, they'll be very similar. You got Sammy Calhoun at the helm, well-connected operator. They'll be also recruiting and looking to push into that top 4. So I think this year was probably the least amount of stars we saw coming into the Barossa in across the board. I thought the talent didn't really come in, any new talent really come in this year. So I feel like next year all clubs are going to be recruiting pretty heavily to try and bring them in. So, and I think Freeling are well and truly in that boat. They've got a good facility, good oval, and I think they can play some good footy. So that's right, Chuck. And a lot of housing around that area. We won't get too sensible in this show, but it's all expanding out that way as well. So you'd think that only helps bringing numbers and interest to the area as well. So it's fantastic seeing them back competitive, finishing with a win. And this year gave us a surprise, Chuck. We'll get into the last game, Williston and Gawler Centrals. We wouldn't have
tipped maybe the result of who's finished fourth. So
I'll definitely put my hand up and say I wouldn't have tipped it.
What we'll say is that middle of the table could be competitive next year, and like you said, 1 or 2 recruits and a couple of youngsters coming through. Their juniors are going well as well. Freeling, their underage program going a little bit better as well, playing some finals for the first time in a while.
Good to see. That is good to see, Brad. I didn't know that. So that is excellent for our Redlegs as well. But let's have a look at the last game. It was 4th v 5th, top 4 spot on the line. The winner plays finals. It was Williston, 14-10-94, defeated by Gawler Central, 16-15, 111, Brad. And I'll eat my hat. I can't believe the Tigers are playing granny. Not a granny. Let's not
in
get
the
out of
finals,
ourselves, but playing finals.
It's been a strange year, Chook. So who knows? They could make it. We throw the term massive around, Chook, but this is massive for the comp and massive for Gawler Central's. I don't reckon they would have given themselves a chance 8 weeks ago or so. Start of the year, midway through the year. I think it's only become real the past 2 or so weeks when they actually sort of looked at the stats, and they would have tuned into the show and saw us pumping them up the last few weeks. So full credit to them. They've got it done, and they have tied up 4th spot. So we'll delve into that, what that looks like next week. Williston best there. Saxon Evans, he is a star, Chook, in the ruck. He keeps getting best on ground for them. Fry 2nd, Zach East 3rd, coming up into Williston's A grade. Williston goals, Coombe 4, Davis 2, East 2, Henschke 2, and Central's best there, Pilkington, Molyneux and Jenner. And their goals, Jenner 5, Pilkington 4, Mitchell 2 and Worse 2, Chook.
Yeah, big game, and had ebbs and flows. GC got out to some big leads, and Williston sort of kicked back and kept themselves in the game.
6-2 in the first quarter, GC.
Yeah, and then Williston come back quite heavily there as well. You might have the exact numbers, Brad, but one of those games where your crosstown rivals, Donnybrooks v the Tigers, and obviously Williston's head coach and a couple of his assistants are Gawler Central people as well. So, you know, that's always a part of the rivalry and the build-up as well. And, you know, they're 2 teams that, in all honesty, with injuries and where they're at, they're not going that well. But they're both sort of limped to the finish line, I guess, and GC just that little bit better. Yeah,
you did right, Chook, and I do have the stats. You're right, I do come prepared to these shows. Williston 6-2 to Gawler Central's 3-3 in the last, so they came home strong, gave Gawler Central's a bit of a shake, and the crowd were getting antsy as well, weren't they, Chook? The reserves, they were all in good spirits. They were going back and forward in the crowd, giving each other a bit of stick about who's playing finals and who's doing what and who's cooking the sausage sizzle next week.
Yes, it was some horrible chat, but
it's good though.
That's the favourite part about going to the footy, Brad, and that's what makes local footy so good.
Yeah.
So our mates got some terrible chat. But it's always good to see, and I like seeing blokes get stuck into him as well.
That Jordan Neat we're talking about, everyone, for those playing at home, giving some stick to Williston B grade, but they had the last laugh because they're playing finals, the B grade for Williston, so they use that over Needy, but he'll be there in full force for the finals. Chookie, Gawler Centrals, I don't know if I've ever seen this, I don't go into too many stats across too many leagues, but Gawler Centrals, they 6th in offence, so for points 4 for the year, 8th in defence, and they've finished 4th. Mathematically, I'm a maths man, and it's hard to fathom. Obviously, they've been pumped a lot this year, and they've got over the line in enough games to finish 4th. It's a massive effort, and hopefully they can get themselves up for next week. And but I'm sure we'll delve into that next segment.
We will. You don't see stats like that very often. No. 6th in offence, 8th in defence, and they're playing in a final. So they've just won the ones that count, Brad, I guess.
That's right.
Sometimes it's just winning games of footy.
All you can ask.
Well done to the Tigers, and looking forward to getting out and supporting them as well. And hopefully they can, they've beaten Barossa this year. So they got beaten by a lot to Barossa last week. But, finals a different ball game, Brad, and anything can happen, as you well know. So round 18 done and dusted, Brad. The minor rounds, South undefeated minor premiers. Exceptional effort from them again, and we're going to have a quick break, Brad. Thank our sponsors. Come back and have a look at the first week of the finals. Yes, thank you again to our major sponsor, the Exchange Hotel, and all of our sponsors that help the show go to air each and every week, Brad. 18 minor rounds, done and dusted. Season's gone very quick when you look back at it, Brad, but let's have a quick look at that ladder. South, obviously, minor premiers on 16 wins, undefeated season from them. Well done to Gavin Chaplin and the crew. Newry with 13 wins, Barossa with 12, and then there's a bit of a drop, Brad, to GC with 8 wins. Williston with 7 there. Angaston, Tanunda, Freeling, all finishing on 5 wins, and played some good footy at times this year. And Kapunda, the single one, finishing at the bottom.
That's right, Chuck. I think if we could have predicted the ladder, the top 3, I think we would have had probably in that order. I think if we rolled the footage of show 1, we're probably suggesting something like that, and I think it was a blanket over the rest. So full credit to Gawler Essentials. They've given themselves a chance. It's a short final series of Barossa, only a top 4, so you've only got to win 3 games, Chook, and they can come over with some silverware.
Oh, that's it. You only need 11 wins for the season from here.
That's right.
For the Tigers as well. But let's have a look at week 1 of the finals, Brad. Saturday, Sunday finals are back. I'm a big fan.
Big fan. I love it, Chook. It obviously gives us more to talk about. It's all happening, a bit of a carnival atmosphere, Saturday, Sunday. Hopefully there's a few fans back it up. But the other thing I love about it as well, Chook, what it does for the top 2 teams, so if you lose that first final, South or Newry, you come up against the winner of the other final after they've only had a 6-day break. Whereas in the past, there's been a bit of conjecture. You come across them after a week off. Yeah. There's always been discussion around that. So this gets rid of all that, and I love it. It'll be a shorter final series, plenty of action, and let's get into it. Yeah,
I agree with that as well. So on the Saturday, Brad, we're at Newry Utpa, and we've got South Gawler and Newry in that final.
Yeah, so the interesting part of these 2 games, we talk about the fairness and whatnot, this is just how it's all fallen, that the 2 lower teams get a home final this year, just how it's all fallen randomly. So Newry will love that out there. They love playing on their deck. Alfie General will get the boys up. I think Newry will give them a good old shake early. We don't have the weather reports just yet, Chook. We haven't looked that far ahead. I think I'm a numbers man, Chook. South are flying. They haven't missed a beat this year. They had 5 outs on the weekend. I think they'll get all them up this week, or very close to all of them. And I think South will get it done by a few goals.
Yep, I'm with you there as well. Obviously, grand final rematch of last year. Bit of salt in the wounds over the last couple. 2 teams that have battled very hard, but I'm going to go with the Lions to win that one as well, Brad. And in the elimination on Sunday, we've got Barossa taking on Gawler Centrals at Gawler Central. So home ground advantage for GC, and they've beaten them there this year.
That's right, Chookie, and the ground will be smelling nicely with Jordan Eade on the barbecue, flipping the sausages. If he doesn't come in, he's always he's on the edge, isn't he?
Know, do you?
You don't know, but nah, Chook, all jokes aside, we need to be serious here for a second. Barossa, we love the way they go about it. They've been building really nicely over 3 years. Being honest, as you are, Chook, Gawler Centrals, they are struggling this year, but they've given themselves a chance, and they knocked Barossa off earlier in the year in the wet. So we'll see what the weather report does. If it comes pissing down with rain, I think Gawler Centrals will be licking their lips to make it a nice scrap. If it's a fine day, I think Barossa will do it comfortably, but prove us wrong. Prove us wrong, Gawler Centrals. They've done it before.
They have, and if they do, I'll be a happy man. Shane Dorr, first-year coach, doing a wonderful job down at the Tigers as well. So I'm with you, Brad. I'm going to go with Barossa. Just too much star power in that team at the moment, and they will be absolutely humming come Sunday afternoon, Brad. So looking forward to getting down there. We're going to try and get down there on the weekend, obviously dependent on our finals with our respective clubs as well, Brad. So hopefully get down there on the weekend and get around the boys and see some really quality footy in the Barossa. So if you are around, make sure you come down, watch some great footy, as I mentioned. Obviously the juniors, Brad, playing beforehand as well. So go and support them. Again, thank you to all of our sponsors. We look forward to being back next week to wrap up a couple of excellent semi-finals.